The All Blacks 3 behind, sitting on 10 mils. But Italy and the All Blacks right now, the equal amount of wins and losses so far at the Rugby World Cup. Of course, New Zealand, they take on Uruguay. Italy take on France in the final round. But the biggest talking point of this poll, Antoine Dupont, the World Cup superstar, the best player in the world, you all said that a few weeks ago, has been cleared to play just a few weeks after breaking his jaw. He's available to play against Italy this week. That is remarkable.
Absolutely remarkable. I mean, he's looking pretty good. I mean, I suppose nowadays in terms of the operations and things that they go through, pretty impressive. But he won't train much, you'd have to say. He won't train much.
Does he need to?
Well, I think you do when you're in that sort of position, because there's a lot of traffic in there. You're not just sort of sitting out in the wing or at fullback and sort of not expecting contact. He's right in amongst it, right in amongst in terms of the ball carry. He's such a big threat. And so he's going to have to take contact. He still has to tackle. I mean, what will that sort of do in terms of his, we know how tough he is in terms of his mental frame and heading towards that sort of contact stage shift.
I don't think I'm mentally tough enough, to be honest, if I was playing. I don't think I'd have it in me. Look, it's a Rugby World Cup. You mentioned he'll do everything he possibly can after the injury, right, to get back. So they're clearly going to do that, JK. I think he has to play against Italy to give him the confidence, the self-confidence. If he believes he's going to be right a week later, to play this game, to go out there. Because if you roll him out in a quarter-final and he doesn't know, JK, in the heat of battle, I mean, you're not going to be at training. You're not going to be the player that runs directly at him to test him out, are you? You're not going to do that at training. You're not going to run that risk. I'd be concerned. So if he feels as though he can play against Italy, I think he should. Because I have no illusions. I think they'll beat them. I think France will have no issue getting over the top of them. Well, hold on. They just conceded 96. Well, hold on. You were almost disappointed we didn't score 100 on them. Let's be fair. So come on. Look.
Wait, is your wife talking to you after that, JK?
No. My problem is this. If you got 5 doctors, would they all say you're allowed to play? You always get a doctor that says, OK, he's got a metal plate in his jaw, so I wouldn't play him against Italy. I'd give him as much time as I can. You cannot tell me a broken jaw and you put a steel plate, you operate, you're ready to go in 2 weeks. So for me, I would give him as much time as he needs. My biggest concern for him is confidence, right? You've got a steel plate in your...
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
How do you go out there?
He can play. He has to feel as though
he needs more time to heal. He needs more time to heal.
I think you need more time to heal. The biggest concern for the French is all this attention that's on Dupont. How is that going to affect them? Because at some stage, they're going to have to say, well, hey, we're going to have to bite the bullet and just park to the side and trust in the guys that we have actually got. But I think you've got to rest and you've got to give them as much time as you can. I think they'll go past it to the... Sorry, JK. But I don't think he needs to play in this game because he's so important to this team, and the more focus you have on him, I think they can actually be a distraction to the French outfit. And so I think they need to park it and actually come with an understanding that he's not going to play and give him all the time he can.
You don't need him until the quarterfinals.
It's a big call for France, but don't go anywhere. Keep watching the breakdown on the road from Leon. We talk about the other pools and the other big matches coming up this week. But first, if you're part of the rugby fabric in New Zealand, have a look at this.
The ASB Rugby Awards is a pinnacle event on the annual rugby calendar, celebrating the best of the best in rugby in New Zealand, from our communities right through to our teams in black. In 2023, there are 2 new Community Rugby Awards, in addition to the Charles Munro Volunteer of the Year. With over 470 rugby clubs across all corners of New Zealand, we know that many of these clubs serve their communities far beyond rugby. The Bunnings Warehouse Rugby Club of the Year recognises a rugby club that has achieved significant outcomes for their members, local community or provincial union in the current year. The winner of Bunnings Warehouse Rugby Club of the Year will receive $5,000 worth of Bunnings products and materials to support the maintenance and improvement of their club rooms. The 2 finalist clubs will also receive a $500 Bunnings gift card. The second new award is to recognise that rugby has the ability to bring communities together to achieve great things. The New Zealand Rugby Community Impact Award recognises an incredible person from a provincial union, community rugby club, organisation, school, iwi or super rugby club that has significantly impacted their community this year. This could include growing participation, culture, diversity and inclusion, women and girls, mental health and well-being, player welfare and leadership. Get your nominations in now on www.nzrugby.co.nz/ASB Rugby Awards, so we can celebrate the amazing individuals and clubs that make a difference in our communities. Winners will be announced during the awards show on December 14 on Sky.
Advantage as Muliaina away for Papali'i. The cross kick coming. Jordan!
Wide ball thrown from Carreras. Here come Argentina again on that far side. Beautiful passing back in field. It's stunning to watch.
In a World Cup game, cross kick from Healy to Redpath. Redpath with the offload. And Chris Harris.
Off to the left, that's where it's heading. Tuisova.
Second half from the Italians, and now here's a chance for Jordan. Kick and chase. Who's got the speed? The bounce. Oh, that's clever. Jordan scores.
Over on the other side. Kick through and the chase there. Pellegrini bounces up for it. Tonga will score one of the best tries here in Marseille. It's magic.
No, my hockey, my welcome back to the breakdown on the road from Leon. Well, remember when South Africa replaced a hooker, Malcolm Marx, with a first five, Handré Pollard? He's finally made his mark on this Rugby World Cup, and South Africa instantly look better. What do they do now at 10 Mils? Do they put the experienced World Cup winning Handré Pollard back in the big games, or do you keep the exciting Mani Lebok?
I like Lebok. I think, you know, they've shown, they've given him, once they give him the sort of, I suppose, the reins and he goes out there and controls his side. The hard part now is Pollard looks so good. He looks really refreshed. He looks fit. He's organised, guys, well. And the goal kicking.
Amen.
That's the big thing, isn't it?
That's it, mate. Like, if you look at South Africa, they missed, 3 kicks against Ireland? They'll play him.
Oh, 100%. Handré Pollard's the guy for me. If you look at the way that they have played in the past, what they've done well, what they've got in front of them, look how good that the bench and impact they do have. They play in the right parts of the field. Defensively, he's strong. He'll kick his goals. Look, he's a proven winner, and he looks sharp.
But they don't want to
tournament. I said weeks before this tournament that Handré Pollard would play a part in this Rugby World Cup.
But they don't want to attack.
So that's why you're picking Pollard?
I'm not saying anything
That's what
about
I'm saying.
that.
That's what I'm saying.
It's a Pollard, exactly.
They want a kicking game. They want to kick from 9. They want to kick for 10. They want to get field position. They want to kick to the corners. They want a goal kick. So he plays. Yeah,
and they score their points. I mean, they play the territory game. Look, he's a proven winner, greatly successful. You know, I think for me, you know, timing's going to be everything in this Rugby World Cup. You know, that's what we're hoping the All Blacks have in terms of their personnel back. Which we managed to get against Italy. That's what they're looking at.
South Africa stick with a 7-1 bench, then Lebok doesn't even make the bench.
I know. That's what I was just about to say that. But also the fact that they have got the luxury in Lebok coming off the bench if they chose to pick him, because he brings something totally different. The downside to his game is he's so inexperienced, and would he come off the bench and
Can he play enough positions?
Well, I don't think he could play in the hooker position, so that's probably his downfall.
I'm not convinced they'll stay at 7-1. I think they may... If Pollard's there, I think they may go back to 6-2. I've just got a sense that push the boundaries out, they keep pushing it. I'm thinking they might just give themselves a little bit of extra cover.
Well, I know everyone's been so disappointed about how the quarterfinals will play out on one side of the draw anyway, but it's made it so exciting in the race for Pool B, because there is a huge matchup coming up that will determine who finishes 1, who finishes 2, who finishes 3, and who crosses over with the All Blacks in France. Ireland, Scotland still to come, JK. Any of those 3 teams can make it, and any one of those 3 can drop out.
Well, you've got to have a bad game in the World Cup and win, right? So I think Scotland, I've been watching them for the last few years. I think they've done a great job. I think they can really play. And I think that game is critical, and Ireland need to be on their game to beat Scotland. If Ireland play their best, they can beat Scotland. But if they have an off day, they need to be really careful. So I think that's the biggest game of the tournament, and obviously the other one is the Argentina and Japan game. But, you know, it's not going to be an easy game for Ireland, Goldie.
Yeah, Mils, I'm interested in your thoughts here, because everything suggests that Ireland should win this game. I mean, Scotland haven't beaten them for a while now, and the nature of the dominance they have in certain areas. Scotland, look, they were really disappointing against South Africa, but I think Ireland are a different proposition, and it might give them the chance to play the way they want to play. And if Finn Russell has one of his games, and I've been waiting for him to have one of his games, and there's a moment, we know he is world class and he can do something special, it would have to be an incredible performance from Scotland. I think it's one step too far if Ireland are the team that everyone thinks they are, this #1 team in the world. They're going to have to prove it this week and next week as well, and going forward. Ireland are under pressure. They have to perform again and again and again. The weight of expectations on them.
I think internal pressure. I think internally they're putting pressure on themselves to be best. If you look at the South African-Scotland game, Scotland held in there until half-time. That's going to be their biggest downfall because the Irish are going to bring pressure right throughout the whole game. Their game's balanced, they've got good players, they can break anything up from anywhere, and they've got a nice set piece. And so I can't see Scotland doing it, but hey, it's a Rugby World Cup. Who knows? Yeah.
Well, what about the Wallabies? Their woes continue for another week. Of course, they need Fiji only need 1 point against Portugal in the final round. The Wallabies are now on a bye, so they just have to wait and see. Can you see the Wallabies going through? Fiji came very close to not winning that game on the weekend.
I think the nice thing about Portugal is coached by Patrick Lagacé, who I played against, a great coach, Coach Biarritz, and they are well drilled. What we saw from Fiji was a bit of nervousness in the game, dropping the ball. If they can play to their potential, I think they'll get their 1 point. So I think no matter what Australia say, unfortunately, I think their tournament is gone. If Fiji play to their ability, they will beat Portugal.
And they shouldn't even need to play to their ability. They had plenty of opportunities in that game on the weekend. They just made hard work for themselves, you know, and there was always, for me, an inevitability about it. I thought they were going to get the job done, and they did. They just made it look a little bit more difficult than they should have.
Not always comfortable.
No, they're not. But when they were supposed to win, they make it hard for themselves. Yeah. I think they'll learn a lot from this game to go into this one and get that 1 point. OK,
well, what about the other big game that JK mentioned? We're looking at Pool D now. It is Argentina-Japan. England are on top of this pool. They will go through. Argentina-Japan is immense.